holidaymakers in Brighton really had the wind up when they came to grips with that 90-mile-an-hour gale which went roaring through southern England. It was like something in a nightmare sideshow as people struggled with the invisible demon as it threatened to blow them into the middle of next week. And run, then you're asking for trouble. Puget sounds under the impact of a real snorter from the Pacific, howling and screaming into Seattle. A guide rope for pedestrians. Newsreel chaps have got their hands too full for that sort of thing. They wanted a picture of the big blow, and I think they've got it. I rather gather the old gentleman wants a helping hand.
Pride and joy, and on opening day the whole place was en fete. Soon afterwards, high winds revealed a structural fault, and every time a gale sprang up, the bridge behaved in a most peculiar fashion. It soon became known as Galloping Gertie. People came from miles round to watch its antics every time the wind got up. It was an engineering feat which provided some sensational newsreel pictures. Then one day, when the gale was just a little bit stronger than usual, Galloping Gertie gave up the ghost. The whole project seemed doomed to disaster. The first attempt at rebuilding resulted in a fire which razed it to its foundation.
The swirling black storm cloud of a typical tornado sweeps towards a township in North Dakota at 50 miles an hour. A frightening sight even on the screen. But what must it have been like for the inhabitants of this town of Fargo? It left a mass of destruction in its wake, 500 homes wrecked and damaged to the tune of $15 million. A catastrophic whirlwind in which 10 people lost their lives while thousands of survivors... Exceptional tides flooding inland on the Texas coast underlined the warnings of the approach of Hurricane Carla. At one point, evacuation was aided by school buses, which took nearly 1,000 men, women and children to safety. Reports put the total number of refugees at 500,000. They were wise to get out in time. On their heels came the vicious Carla, whipping in from the Gulf of Mexico. When the hurricane struck, it lashed in at 170 miles an hour. Hurricane Carla, the wildest of the century.
News from America includes these scenes of wild destruction when a hurricane hit the Atlantic coast. Atlantic City alone suffered damage estimated at over $4 million, and there were many people killed during the terrific storm which raged for a whole week from the West Indies to New England. A
At times, the wind reached a velocity of nearly 100 miles an hour, and if some 5,000 people hadn't been evacuated before the hurricane struck the coast, loss of life might have been very much greater. Beach resorts on Long Island.
The recent hurricane, roaring northwards up the Atlantic coast of America, lashed the New England seaboard into a delirium of whirling water. Force 12 on the Beaufort scale, winds of 100 miles an hour, and a terrifying aftermath of death and destruction. Before the hurricane finally blew itself out in Canada, 53 people had lost their lives. In one way or another, roughly 3 million people have suffered in New England alone. It'll take a long time to assess the cost of the damage, but it's been estimated in the region of £180 million. But the summer of 1954 was nothing to cheer about, and Britain wasn't the only land to suffer. The appalling weather was worldwide. Could it in fact be related to atomic explosions? This is what happened at Niagara Falls thanks to the heavy rains. Remember this spectacular movie-tone shot? Floods caused loss of life and vast damage in India, among other countries. Yes, abroad and at home, the weather of 1954 was something no one's likely to forget for a long time to come.
The filming of an earthquake is a rare event, even in Japan, where such disasters are only too frequent. This particular quake just outside Tokyo was specially contrived, however, to give pretty Mitsuko Kimura a lively chance to act her emotional role opposite Christian Drake, an American movie player. Director Paul Sloane was determined indeed to get realism into his new film, Forever Yours. So, of course, little Miss Kimura was bound to put her foot in it before long. Still, it's fairly safe to bet the heroine will in fact be rescued by the hero.